Amz again, and I'm just on my way home. Been to the game, and what an absolute disappointment on my way back from Manchester. Just don't know what to say. We stopped somewhere, and it's all iced up. So I thought, let me come back and do a bit of a show. I tried to do a preview, couldn't, and just as well, guys, as you know, full-time score. He ended up Man United playing at home at Old Trafford. Man United won. Bottom of the league, Wolves won. This is one of 3 draws so far this season that Wolves have had out of 19 games. This is exactly the halfway point of the season. The next match is going to be in 2026. Man United have ended 2025 in an absolute heap of shit, absolute disappointment, absolute garbage. A lot of people I saw prior to this match, they started doing a recap, and just a lot of nonsense. A lot of people going. I watched the show with Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand gave Amzaum and Man United a 6.5. Another United fan, I don't want to call him an idiot, I don't know him, but he gave United a 7. What world are these guys living in? And I just feel like United fans, I hate to say it, I never thought I would be saying it, because the deluded tag is reserved for Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, but certainly Arsenal fans. I mean, what are they watching? 7 out of 10 for this season so far, where we are on 30 points from 19 games. 30 points from 19 games. And we've played the worst team that the Premier League has seen, one of the worst teams ever that the Premier League has seen. Right, in Wolves. We've played them twice and we've taken 4 points from them. Absolutely shocking. So, where do we start? We played well against Newcastle. We started with a back 4. We played something that resembled Manchester United. We played something that represented the football that we know. Of course, we're not going to win every game. We're not always going to see out games, but we managed to. And I think it's because we started that way. We were at the back 4. We played well, and we thought, okay, he's starting to see sense. This idiot manager that we have is starting to see sense. What does he do? 30 minutes to go, he removes Casemiro, puts on Fletcher, who again, I know we should not criticize young players, but for me, he's not ready. Bring in somebody else. He's not ready. This guy, it's a bit too soon. Anyway, but more importantly, again, this is not me going in on the player. I just think Amzaum is almost self-sabotaging, perhaps to send a message to the team, to the hierarchy, that he's devoid of players, that he needs players. Okay, perhaps. What do we know? But our season's taking a hit. United fans are taking a hit. Man United as a club is taking a hit because Amzaum's trying to drive this rhetoric to the owners. I actually think the owners have got to put the boot in. I genuinely do. I think our squad's good enough. Even with these injuries, I think we're good enough. But anyway, let's backtrack to the Newcastle game. Started it well. Don't know what, obviously, clearly Mason Mount's injured because he didn't play today. took off Mason Mount. He then took off Casemiro to save him for today, and went back to a back five, and it was absolutely abhorrent, abysmal. And today, as if he wants to shoot himself on the foot again, and he wants to make his point, he goes out and sets himself up on a back five yet again. And this time, unlike the previous time that we played Wolves, to be honest, maybe they were playing at the Molineux, they set themselves up to attack Man United, and they left themselves open. We ended up punishing them 4-1. I think Wolves, last time, they went in, again, very luckily they went in at half-time 1-1. I think they should have changed. They should have seen the issues and changed. But clearly their manager's a sack of shit as well. Pardon my French. So they didn't change. However, someone must have told them, hey, do not play expansive football against Man United. They'll pick you out. What do? Low block. And we just failed to create any chance. Well, not any chance, but we just failed to create chances. One key point that I do want to bring, because I don't know what someone was saying anyway in my ear at that time. But Šeško hit the bar, so I heard that. I looked up and I saw Diallo patting him on the back, Šeško looking back and smiling, and I thought, why is it just these two celebrating? Both of them were celebrating Šeško managing to get himself up, 6'5", Šeško managing to outjump a defender and hitting the bar only to see the ball bounce out. So it wasn't a goal. I don't know if it was a corner or goal kick, I can't remember, but it's a joke. This team is a joke. The players are a joke. We've still got good enough players, guys, to beat the likes of Bournemouth, Wolves, etc. But our manager is a joke. It's an even bigger joke. And we are not going to get anywhere with this clown continuing with his formation. I do believe he's a good coach. And we are playing, we have got a system of play. Something that, for example, Solskjaer did not. I don't think he coached the players well. I don't think he had a system in place. But Amzaum is just too stubborn for his own good. He doesn't have that emotional intelligence to really suss out the game, smell the game. And he lacks in-game management. I really hope he does well. I still hope he does well. But where I stand, I think today, at the halfway mark of the season, with having played Wolves twice, I think it's a game too far. I think if the owners decided, sorry guys, I'm just going to start driving, so you might struggle to see me now that I've switched off the lights. It's not for too long. I think if the owners were to say, we have decided to part company with him, I would not blame them. I think we've got to this point that Amzaum is starting to get toxic. He has clear player preferences. He has very little concept of English football, and he's now had a year, guys. He's not come in at this season. Sometimes we forget he's come in last season. He should understand English football. There's a reason Sir Alex Ferguson has played 4-4-2 for 99% of his career at Man United. There's a reason Arsene Wenger, whether we like him or not, but I respect him, clearly went on record saying 4-4-2 is the most balanced formation in football. We've got magazines named 4-4-2. It's just very, very clear as day. Now, you'll have modifications to it. If you want to play a flat 4-4-2, which is what we played in the 99 season, I still argue, I think York was maybe slightly more of a 9.5 and Cole a 9. But anyway, they were the flat 4-4-2. Otherwise, it's always been, 4-4-1-1, Cantona drop in, Hughes up front, Scholes and Solskjaer drop in, Van Nistelrooy up front as a 9, sorry. Or you play 4-3-3. Again, it's very 4-3-3. Again, it's not too dissimilar to a 4-4-2. It's just that number 10 sometimes drops in midfield to make it more of a diamond midfield, or and leaves 2 up front, or sometimes joins into attack. So whatever it is, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, we're happy. But this 5 at the back is ridiculous. And where I talk about his lack of emotional intelligence is he continues to persevere with having defenders in wide attacking positions. Guys, it's just not the same. Having Dalot and Dorgu, and our last game, I personally gave Aidan Heaven the second highest score and gave Patrick Dorgu a 9 out of 10 and gave him the man of the match, because I think he was the game changer. He's the one who scored the goal. He was playing out of position and he made the difference. So I gave all the props to Dorgu. I like him. I think he's got a great future. I believe Rooney also singled him out, because it's so hard, or singled him and Aidan Heaven out, because it's so hard for defenders, young defenders, to come in, make their mark, because they can't make any mistakes. Anyway, we like Dorgu. We've established that. But having Dorgu on that touchline on the left-hand side and having Dalot on the touchline on the right-hand side, that's just... There's no creativity there, guys. It's like Alex Ferguson asking Dennis Irwin, Roy Keane's favourite, Dennis Irwin, and Gary Neville to maraud that touchline up and down and be providing all the crosses. No bloody way. Gary Neville, who, by the way, retired as a great crosser of the ball, is because he did all his tutelage under David Beckham. Learned his trade under David Beckham. And he'll put in the odd cross. He'll put in 2 or 3 crosses a game, max. If he puts in 3, 2 will be great. That's fine. But if you're going to have 2 attackers, like today we had 2 players who are 1.90 and above, in Joshua Zirkzee, in Benjamin Sesko, we had 2 super tall attackers, and we needed quality balls on the in the box. We can't expect that from Diego Dalot and Dorgu, with all due respect. It's not the same. So last week, our last game against Newcastle, what was really good was, instead of having Martinez, Shaw and Aidan Heaven at the back, we sacrificed one of them and we bunged Dorgu up front. We took out a defender and we had an extra attacker. That made all the difference. Today we started with 5 defenders, 1 goalkeeper, 2 number 6, outright number 6s, So we started with 8 defensive-minded players who don't have any creativity to save their lives. And we're expecting Xerxes, Shesko, and Cunha to come up with the goods. What was the result? Xerxes was taken off at halftime, and I don't think it was purely because of injury, because he wasn't playing well. I know he would probably be credited for the goal, but it's a deflected goal, and he got taken off. Shesko was threatening, but he just doesn't provide, in my opinion. I don't know what people are seeing with Shesko. He doesn't carry the ball well at all. He can't dribble. He tries to, and he always gets closed down. Always gets the ball robbed from him at the earliest possible chance. And it was down to Cunha, and Cunha was just, I'm sorry, I don't want to use foul language, but he was a pile of shit today, Cunha. I like him as a player, but he was no good. And I think that was down to frustration, because there was no one really providing him with clear-cut chances. It was Cunha, try and make something for yourself. And as we know with Cunha, and that's a criticism I have of Cunha, when he does evade a player, 2 players, he tends to want to capitalize and cap that off with a solo goal. He seems to want to then do it all. And Cunha had wayward shots after wayward shots. Guys, we can't be at Old Trafford and be playing with 8 defensive-minded goal players. This just can't happen. This is, for me, anti-football number 1, and it's anti-Man United. At Old Trafford, I'm coming back from the game, and I'm absolutely devastated. Not just with the scoreline. I mean, forget the scoreline for a minute. I was telling a friend, actually, I'll always cheer United on. At the time, 90 minutes, I'll always wish for United to score, to win, to do well. But after that offside goal got chalked, well, that goal from Dorgu got chalked up for offside, part of me was like Roy Keane. Part of me was like, I'm glad Amzaum is not going to get away with this. I'm glad Amzaum doesn't get away with this, because we did not deserve to win. We didn't do enough to deserve a victory against this lowly placed Wolves. And let me be honest, we'll go into our player rating soon, because I just can't be doing this anymore. I'm just fed up, reached home. I'm going to do my player ratings in a minute. But I can tell you straight away, Lamens was my man of the match. By far. If Lamens does not perform like he should, like we've gone on to expect him, and actually today he was even, I think, better, because he started, I don't want to jinx it, but he started to show composure with his feet, with shot stopping with his feet, like De Gea. He had what in the first half? Quality. If he didn't pull those saves out, I think we lose this game 3-1. I've not watched any highlights. I've not had the chance. So it's all just by memory at the moment. But I recall 2 absolutely, in my opinion, world-class saves that he made. to keep us in the game. And but for that, we lose that game. That's another Everton going down to 10 men and losing. That would be another disaster. Amzaum is robbing a living right now with this 5 at the back, guys. He is robbing a living because I won't blame teams to sit against Man United at home. I won't. But such is the Premier League. Such is the Premier League. Every teams have gone on. There's no small teams in the Premier League. There's no minnows. Wolves, let me tell you guys, they're so bad. For me, they're a mid-table championship team. They're mid-table championship team. Next year, when we have the likes of Middlesbrough, etc. coming up, I think it will be even harder. English football has grown in quality. English football is bettering itself. And what I mean by that is all the way down the leagues, we lost to Grimsby. That was a very well-balanced match, fair and square. Grimsby won it, fair and square, on penalties. Okay, at that time, we had a clown of a goalkeeper in Onana who was the reason we lost it. But still, years gone back, if United were to play Grimsby, forget United, if any top 6 team were to play Grimsby, they'd be lucky to take anything away than a 5-0 defeat. But now no more. The championship teams can give the Premier League teams a run for their money. The top half of the championship, in my opinion, is just as good as or will be very, very competitive between them and the second half of the Premier League. That's just the quality of English football. Now, Man United, as I said, are getting very lucky, and Ruben Amorim is stealing a living because he is expecting, when we go away, we've got a fairly decent record because he is expecting teams to come out and attack because they are at home. For me, I would not blame teams who are in the lower half, any of the last 5-6 teams in the Premier League, to sit back against Man United, because it's not just a chance to get a draw, or they're not just setting themselves to get a draw, but they're genuinely setting themselves up to catch Man United on the counter-attack. Wolves, for me, today, had all the chances to win. They had it. I can't look at it and go, oh, it's 2 points dropped. Yes, it's 2 points dropped from a Man United perspective, absolutely. We could and should have won the match, but we could have very easily lost the match as well. Like we did against Everton, right? So I think we were very lucky to cling on to victory against Newcastle. Guys, the Premier League is very, very hard-fought league. And I go back to that point about how the likes of Rio Ferdinand and some Man United critics are saying they're giving flowers to Amorim, calling it a 6.5, 7 out of 10 season. They're looking at the placing in the league. Oh, United are 5th. Oh, United are 6th. Guys, there's hardly any difference between the 5th place team and the 15th place team or 17th place team even. I think it literally goes point. Meaning, if Man United lose 2 matches in a row, 2 matches in a row can send us all the way back down to where we were in the league last season. And who's going to guarantee me? Will Rio Ferdinand guarantee me that Man United cannot lose back-to-back games? 2 games, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. So for me, no, has not been a good season. This is barely, for me, a 5, at best 5 and 5.5 out of 10 season, and it's all to play for in the second half. Now, I'd be a lot more optimistic, a lot more optimistic with two things. One, if we still had Wolves to play in the second half in 2026, we don't play them anymore. And secondly, I'd be a lot more optimistic if we were going to play 4 at the back. This 5 at the back malarkey just does not work. It will work for some games. It will absolutely work when we have De Ligt back, when we're bringing a absolute 3-lung midfielder. Perhaps it's Baleba, someone like Caicedo, a la Makalele, that kind of player. Someone who's going to run for 2 players. 3-lung park. And if we're bringing a new striker, it can absolutely work. But then it's not about the formation. It's just we have better players, guys. If we have better players, anything works. But what happens if De Ligt is injured? What happens if that midfielder is injured? What happens if we end up with bloody Sesko up front again? We cannot rely on this 5 at the back. Here's the thing. A lot of fans and a lot of pundits have been going in on Dalot, have been even criticized Dalot, have been criticizing Dorgu, have been going in on our fullbacks, Mazraoui, all of them. Guys, it's almost like an impossible task. You're asking our fullbacks to do the job of 2 players. They've got to attack as a winger, out and out attacking winger, and they've got to defend as a defender. It's very, very unfair. The few times, and the last time that we played 4 at the back, look how comfortable both Dalot and Luke Shaw looked. Yes, they were still attacking, but it wasn't required of them. It wasn't absolutely required for them to sprint over towards that corner flag. Their main job was to make sure we're compact enough and defend. And defend we did. We could have Roberto Carlos and Cafu in this side, and I think we would struggle. And of course, Dorgu and Dalot have done. But a slight tweak, Dorgu as the right attacking midfielder, number 10, was amazing. Why didn't we just continue with that? Pig-headed Amorim has got a lot to answer for. Anyway, let me jump in on the player ratings. Let me jump in on the player ratings, and I'm going to go off camera again for a little minute. So, as I said, Lamens, no questions asked for me. He didn't have much to do for the goal. He was not responsible for the goal that we conceded. He was close to it, and maybe if I'm being ultra critical, he could have grown a couple of centimeters and touch it, but it was not his fault. So I'm not going to blame him. And he's done everything else really, really well. So he gets an 8 out of 10 and gets the man of the match. I almost forget who's playing now. So let's start with Aiden Heaven. I think he didn't have a good game. Aiden Heaven had his worst game in a United shirt that I have seen Um, I don't know how much of that is contributory towards the three men at the back, but they were very, very slow, lethargic with the ball. They just United were playing like a team who are head and shoulders the best team in the league, and they were playing against the worst team in the league. They played like that, but they didn't look it. They were taking their time on the ball. Aiden Heaven took his time, got closed down. He was starting to get found out. And yeah, I think 5 would be a generous score for him. Licha Martinez, he didn't make mistakes, and he was probably the best defender that we had today, but he didn't do enough for me as a 3 at the back. They've got to attack a lot more. They've got to show, the onus is then on the defenders to start the attacks, to start to develop the ball, and they were taking a lot of time. So Licha gets an average score of 6. And then we had Luke Shaw. Same for Luke Shaw. Didn't help out in attack as much as he should. And consequently, I don't think they deliberated quite as much as Heaven, but consequently, it just kills a lot of time. It doesn't bring United anywhere. 5.5 for Luke Shaw. Diego Dalot on that right-hand side. Poor. Gets exposed. He's not a wing-back. Don't know why he's in the side as a wing-back. Maybe we don't have players. But didn't provide any crosses. Wasn't good with the throws, because this is something that clearly they're pushing for Man United. Throw-ins from Diego Dalot. But none of that. 5 out of 10. And then Patrick Dorgu could have got the winner. It's probably unlucky with the offside. And yeah, he gets a 6. But he could have been another match winner, really, for United today, Patrick Dorgu, had he been played in that same position as an attacker, as a number 10, like Mbeumo. But he didn't. Chance missed. Now, on to Casemiro. For me, terrible match from Casemiro. He was deliberating, marauding, thinking he's still playing for Real Madrid. He was carrying the ball so long, for such a long time, not getting tackled, and still keeping the ball, thinking that he's not going to get tackled. Like, where's your brain? You're such an experienced player. Like, you're not going to get this time. And so many times he got closed down by Wolves attackers because he was just taking so much time on the ball. Now, the problem is he probably didn't have too many options. The attackers, from a United perspective, probably didn't give him too many options, didn't open up, didn't show for the ball. We get that, but still, you've got to move it about. Otherwise, you get closed down, and straight away, Wolves are running at our defense. So, Casemiro, poor performance for me, 4 out of 10. And guys, again, we look at the same players. Licha Martinez, Heaven, excellent last week. Why? Because they're playing in a 2. These are supremely competent defenders that we have. Supremely competent defenders. Why do they need to play in a 3 with more support? They're more than capable in playing in a 2, the back 4, and closing the game out. On the other hand, Casemiro needs all the help. Casemiro needs legs. He needs Ugarte around him. He needs a number 10 to come in and add 3 in midfield. Amzaum doesn't provide that. And like I mentioned with Casemiro, the same for Ugarte. He had a much better game against Newcastle. Today, it was down to him and Casemiro to open up the game. They're not Bruno Fernandes, either of them. And they both look very, very leggy. Ugarte didn't quite make the mistakes that Casemiro did. So for that reason, he gets a 5.5. And now we go to Cunha. What a terrible performance by Cunha. Selfish. Just took pot shots for no reason. I'd blame him for the similar thing to Casemiro even. Was running, he was evading the challengers, 1 or 2, and then keeping the ball. Someone's going to get it off you, Eddie. You've got to pass and move. Pass and move. But if we don't have players in attack, who are they going to pass to? Because Wolves always seem to have a player onto a United player. More than sometimes 2, sometimes 1. It's clear as day. I mean, I'm not a footballing genius by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't understand how Amzaum doesn't see it. One more player in attack, take one player out of defense, put it in attack, and all of a sudden, the players who we have in this system right now, they have a lot more options. You've got people like Casemiro, Ugarte. These are players who can pass and move. Don't want to run too much. They're not the most creative, but they will pass and move. Give them options. But if you take away their options, they can't thread a ball like a Skulls. So give them options. Back to Cunha. Shocking performance. Probably one of the worst players. I don't know who's worse between him and Casemiro. So 4 out of 10 for Cunha. Xerxes, he got the ball, but for me, he didn't offer much else. A 6. I don't know why he got taken off. I still haven't found out. But if we've lost another player to injury, that's more tough luck on United. And up top, Shesko. Do you know what? He's done so. It's not all bad from Shesko. He did get up for a shot at the bar. Oh. He was given a golden chance. I can't remember who put in the cross. He was given a golden chance. Beat the offside trap and literally headed the ball from a few yards out. He literally headed the ball straight into the goalkeeper's arms. I mean, talk about poor finishing or lack of confidence. This guy's got a lot of work to be done. Again, I go back to Rio Ferdinand and I heard those guys talk. And they were like, oh, Shesko, you've got to judge him on retaining the ball. And apparently he's so much better than Højlund. In what world is he better than Højlund? What is he contributing? How much of the ball has he held up today? And hold up for what? For 2 players to run on? Maybe if Shesko was given 1 or 2 extra players around him, he would look good. I'm not going in on him. I just don't think, apart from his height and, you know, his presence, he does have a presence and he jumps for balls. But apart from that, I haven't seen him stretch his legs. He's not beaten players. He's not gone past players, doesn't run the channel. He's got physicality about him and he jumps, he can head a ball. But he's got to fit the system. You can't have a player like this who can't really beat players, can't run much. You can't have him up top on his own. That's just ludicrous. So he gets maybe a 6.5, slightly above average. At least he's showing for the ball. And now the substitutes. Fletcher. We continue to persevere with Fletcher. For me, I gave him a 5.5 the last game. I'll be generous and give him a 5 this game. Clear drop off. Lenny Yoro came on, 6 out of 10. There's a new forward who came on. Can't remember his name. This is 6 out of 10. And trying to think who else, but the subs didn't do much. The referee for me didn't really give United any free kicks. I can't recall. I can't remember any free kicks to United. But when United were equally getting physical with Wolves, he was very happy awarding Wolves free kicks. So for me, he doesn't get more than a 7 out of 10, the referee. And Amzaum. Patience running out. I think United is trying to fit square peg in a round hole with Amzaum at Old Trafford. I think it's going to cost the owner his spot. I think there's going to be some big changes, probably with the takeover. I anticipate this will trickle into ownership because the new owners have hung their hat on Amzaum. It's clear to see he gets away with murder, and the fans seem to have been paid off as well, because some of them, or sorry, not the fans, the pundits, the critiques, they all seem to be in on it. It's just the fans. Like, we're just going mad, going like, how is this guy stealing a living? Don't get me wrong. As I said, as a coach, as a trainer, he's good. We can actually see progress, the quality of play, etc. But his in-game management is atrocious, and he's so stubborn. He's got to do less talking to the media, more talking on the pitch. I expect a lot more from Amzaum, from my manager, if he's to stay in the club. For me, this match, it goes in as the worst score. He goes in as a 3 out of 10. He's got he's got to take a hard look at himself, Amzaum. He's got a hell of a lot to do to improve. Hell of a lot to do in the January transfer window. It's got to change pretty quick for him. He has had 2 transfer windows already. This January will be the 3rd. I don't care that it's not the summer and it's only January. We haven't got all the time in the world to be giving him. Arsenal have just dispatched Aston Villa 3-0. Aston Villa, who beat us. Arsenal have just dispatched them 3-0. When we started the season, we were a match for Arsenal. If we played Arsenal now, I think we'd get obliterated. So there's a lot of work to be done by Amzaum in the transfer window to start off with. And then with himself, with his own belief, with his own mentally where he's at. Because sometimes he seems like he's ready to hang up, call time on Man United. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, it's not good. It's not a happy new year from Man United, but it will be a happy new year from me to you all. Have a great time. Hope it's been a good year, and hope you have an even better 2026. Take care and see you all later.